Ladies and gentlemen, democracy is a complicated issue, and democracy and capitalism a troublesome one, and I'm not going to make things less troublesome. What's democracy? Democracy is demokratia, power of the people. The demos or demos in modern Greek is not or was not what we mean in our time when we say people, but I cannot discuss this problem. Another definition of democracy is the famous sentence by President Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address. He actually didn't pronounce the word democracy, but everybody takes this as a description of the essence of democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. In truth, democracy, as I see it, has at least two aspects, two fairly divergent, or let's say not necessarily convergent aspects. Democracy is a set of values, or if you want, an ideal, but democracy is also a system of government. Under the first aspect, democracy is a battle cry versus personal party dictatorship versus oligarchs against corrupt democracies. It was very much pronounced, very much used in the Tiananmen movement in China back in 1989, and it was also largely used in the Arab Spring 2011. But in this sense, it doesn't really mean specifically democracy. It rather means rule of law and transparency of power. More specific to democracy is its meaning, to the contents of democracy, its meaning as a promise of equality, not just of political equality, but of social equality as well, a promise of equality and generalized participation in political life. The problem or the trouble is that the formal equality of all citizens in the ballot, one man, one vote, does not necessarily or does not often translate into more social equality. There is empirical evidence for this. Let's say the evolution in the past 3 decades in Western countries. Then comes democracy as a system of government. That is a procedure establishing a government while settling conflicts by majority rule. But this procedural definition of democracy only holds and only is accepted by the citizens under 3 reassuring preconditions. First, that whatever the majority, the democratic procedure is not terminated or disfigured, so that the minority, today's minority, can become tomorrow's majority, and a plurality of parties is guaranteed for today and tomorrow. The second precondition is that the fundamental rights of the citizens are not infringed upon. By this, I mean the personal freedoms as well as the freedom of the electoral process. And the third precondition is that the will of the voters is not superseded by foreign or non-elective power such as big money. Foreign power means occupation or neo-colonial pressure, but what we experience in the West is first of all the predominance of big money. And this leads us to the thorny issue of democracy and capitalism. In the discussion about capitalism, extreme confusion dominates the field. So what do we mean by capitalism? I stick to Karl Marx, and for me, capitalism means an economic system producing commodities which is driven by profit expectations and is based on wage labor being itself a commodity. Please be aware that one thing is capitalism as such, according to the definition I've just given. Another thing is one of the many historical versions of capitalism, including, let's say, pathological versions like the overwhelming financial capitalism we regard with some good right as one cause of the financial and economic crisis since 2008. Now, what is the relevance of capitalism for democracy? This is what I'm going to discuss in the next section.